Good day, my dear students. Welcome to our class on air. These classes are, you remember, visionary in nature. They are aimed at preparing you for your SSC English language examinations, both at WAEC level and NECO level. Remember, we have been looking at papers 2 and 3. In this class, we want to look at the paper 1, which is the objective test. Paper 1, objective test. Because it is revisional in nature, we'll not be able to go through in details, all the items of grammar, of tenses, of structure, idioms, and so on and so forth. Paper 1 is the objective, which is the multiple choice, where we usually refer to it as objective test. As I said before, it carries 40 marks. And for WAEC, it has about 80 items. For NECO, it has about 100 items. The difference is only in the registers at the end. Now, because it's a revisional class, cannot go into all the items of grammar, the noun, the adjective. But in the course of the program, we are going to look at some of the questions that are set in this area. And therefore, we'll look at the pattern of the objective test. And all these elements of grammar, elements of structure, of tenses have been discussed in New Oxford Secondary English course for Senior Secondary Schools Book 1, Book 2, then we have the Book 3 too, and the Book 3 is actually the heaviest one, which is very well loaded, as we have been told before. You remember that the structure of the paper, we have 6 sections in the paper. 6 sections. Sections 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to look at each of the sections and what we need to actually do so that we can do very well. The very first one is section 1. Section 1. Section 1 deals with antonyms. Antonyms. In other words, words and opposite. But don't forget that even though it is word and opposite, we have said that a word has a meaning according to the context. So you need to read the sentence itself to know the context you are dealing with, so that you don't give the wrong opposite. Because as I told you before, a word has a meaning according to the context. Let's look at this sentence, for example. And this one is given as the word. You are asked to give the antonym, the opposite, mostly opposite in meaning to this word. You are going to put it in this gap there. Now look at the word raw. Raw, in this case, what does it mean? Ordinarily, you may think that raw means uncooked. Uncooked. How about raw meat? Uncooked meat. Raw may mean many other things. In fact, in the dictionary, that you have about 8 meanings for the word. The other word raw, just raw. It may mean uncooked. It may mean unprocessed. Raw material. So here, we raw mean uncooked ones. The general said that he needed dash troops, not raw ones. Can it be uncooked? Can it be unprocessed? Of course not. So the opposite of this one will now be seasoned. Seasoned means the one that are well trained, well skilled. So the opposite there of raw there is seasoned. That's why I said you have to look at the context before you can now give the meaning of the opposite of the thing you are talking about. You have many other ones in that area too. Now look at this one again. Let's look at this one. I have a sentence here. Mrs. Taiwo has a calm temperament. While her husband is dash. Now calm in this context, what does it mean? Mean very cool. But calm may mean some other thing in another context. Well, you can say Mrs. Taiwo has a calm temperament here, while her husband is aggressive. Aggressive may be the opposite here. But if you look at this sentence, while we were going to Takwa Bay, the sea was calm. That's the one. But while we were returning, it was, and what is the opposite of calm here? Will you say, can it be aggressive here? Of course not. The sea cannot be aggressive. So here, while we were going to Takwa Bay, the sea was calm, but while we were returning, it was what? Turbulent. I don't know whether I get what the point I'm making. That a word has a meaning according to the context, and has an opposite according to context too. The context here, for example, a calm temperament, and the husband has an aggressive one. But here, when we were going to Takwa Bay, the sea was calm, very cool, very not moving. But while we were returning, it was turbulent, it was violent. That's what I mean by you have to look at the context of the word before you can give the word that is opposite in meaning to the word antonyms. That's section 1. Now section 2. Section 2 deals with words that are suitable or appropriate. You are given some questions that will test your knowledge of whether you know the words that are appropriate or suitable for one situation or not. Let me give you an example. The drama was interesting. It's interesting. Was interesting. Was so interesting. That the dash clapped for a long time. Now you are given these options. Spectators. B. Assembly. C. Congregation. And D. Audience. I have to choose the one that will be most appropriate for this context. The drama was so interesting that the dash clapped for a long time. You cannot say spectators. You have spectators on the field. Also, when you watch football matches or something, assembly, probably you have people gathering together in a place, probably in the morning or in the church or anywhere. Then you also have congregation. You have this especially in the church, congregation. So all this one will not be appropriate. This one will be the appropriate one, audience. The drama is so interesting that the audience clad for a long time. That's the appropriate, and that's how you have to choose. Look at how it is structured so that you can choose the correct thing for that one, which is the appropriate one or the suitable one. That's was section 2. I can give you another, let me give you another one. An example for section 2, words that are appropriate, that are suitable. The accident was serious, but it was not dash. And you are given the options. You are given the options A, dreadful, B, bloody, C, lethal, D, fatal. You have to choose the one that's appropriate. One was serious, or it was not dash. Can be dreadful means fearful. Bloody can be bloody, but that's not the appropriate actually. The appropriate one there is not bloody. Lethal means also deadly. The appropriate one would be fatal, which is the answer. Fatal. Of course fatal, but it was not fatal. Remember, we usually misuse that word fatal. It's not when probably say, it was a very serious, it was a fatal accident. It's not, once no lives were lost. It was not fatal. Okay, it's not fatal. It was not that because no lives. I was in a hurry. No lives were lost. Oh, no. So once there is no loss of life involved, it cannot be fatal. Usually say it was a fatal accident. Once there is no loss of life, it cannot be fatal. That's section 2. Section 2. Let's go to section 3. Section 3 with interpretation of idioms and idiomatic expressions. Here you have to learn a lot of them. You have to, when you read where you read the idioms, you have to give interpretation to some idioms. In fact, all the books that we are talking about in the series of the senior secondary, they are very rich in these idioms. Especially this book 3 of the senior secondary, very, very rich. If you get hold of one, you will see every in unit in the book has a section on idioms, very well treated into good details. And therefore, I want to advise you to have a look at each of this series. Now, I'm giving some items, some units. Let me give you an example, like this one. One should call a spade a spade, not go about avoiding the real issue. Now this is calling a spade a spade. You need to know the meaning of that one. In other words, how to speak frankly not just dodging the issue or going. The same thing with beating about the bush. You have another one, like in this one, our personnel manager always spills the beans. And you are giving, this is, of course, this is the one that is the thing. What does it mean? That is idiom. Spills to spill the bean is actually to let out secret information. That is the meaning. Another one is effort to wipe out corruption in many societies is like trying to square a circle. Squaring a circle. That is the, actually, it will not be underlined, but that is how the pattern is. And when you look at that one, sometimes the meaning of the idiom is in the idiom itself, if you think about it very well. Because if you talk about squaring a circle, you have a circle, this one. How therefore can you square it we perfectly in that one? So in other words, it's like doing what is an impossible task. That is the meaning of that idiom. So you need to read wide. I told you before that in this book, you have very many of them treated in every unit of the book of this New Oxford Second English course for senior secondary schools. Book 3 is we have very many of them there. That for section 3. Section 3 and going to section 4. Again, section 4 deals with synonyms. Words that are nearly very near the original, very near that are very near in the meaning. And you remember we did say that in terms of words, words have a meaning according to the context. So you give the meaning of the word according to the context when you are dealing with synonyms, because the meaning is determined by the context. Remember we said something about bar when we are dealing with paper 2 in terms of essay writing. We said bar can mean so many things except you know the meaning. For example, the person speaking, bar to a lawyer, maybe a body of lawyers, to a goalkeeper, and so on and so forth. In fact, this word bar has about 16 minutes in the dictionary. Another one is line. Line as a noun. Line can mean so many things, depending on who is speaking. To a housewife, line may mean that things on which she spread her clothes for drying. To a mathematician, line may mean this shortest distance between 2 points. To a soldier, may mean a single file. To a businessman, maybe another branch of the trade. Why don't you try another? Probably he's been looking at detergent. It's not moving fast. And then somebody says, why don't you try another line? Probably another branch of the trade. So you can see. So before you give the meaning of any word whatsoever, you must consider the how it has been used. Now let's look at section 5. This section deals with many items. Items of grammar, of tenses, of structure, and many other, maybe punctuation too, sometimes spelling too, sometimes spellings, That's why it is not possible for us to go through, because we need to go through the parts of speech, noun, verb, and so on and so forth. And in a regional class of this nature, it's not possible for us to go through everything. And that's why we need to look at the pattern of the paper. In this one, we have items of grammar, and the tenses, structure, punctuation, spelling, which we need to have. And if you master the grammar aspect and the structure aspect in this series, which you have been, that from GS, that time on SS1, you will see that many of these items of grammar have been dealt with into details, and you have no fear at all when you are attempting your SSC exam in English language. That's section 5. Section 6. Section 6. Deals with registers or vocabulary. Now, in human endeavor, you have some aspects that have been specified in the syllabus, in the curriculum, that you have to be familiar with many areas of human endeavor, occupation, like building, in fishing, in transportation, in entertainment, in sports, in health, in so many other things that are specified in the syllabus. All these you have to read them up in the syllabus. And if you look at in the books, if you look at all the books in this series, I mean books 1, 2, 3, these have been very well treated in each of the books. For example, if you look at book 1, in book 1, look at page 4, this with family and home life. You have many of them. We cannot go through everything, but shall just look at them. You have on page 19, you have words associated with agriculture. Is also in the syllabus. Apart from that, you have have many other ones. Page 35, you have vocabulary development, animal husbandry, fishing. That is fishing, which is special in the syllabus. So many other ones too. Another one on page 51, animal husbandry. Apart from treating the thing, some other exercises have been put on page 51. Now let's look at another one. There are very many there, but because of our time, we will not be able to. Let's look at this one. This one is on advertising on page 173. Advertising. Apart from discussing the thing, we have. Then let's look at book 2 too. Book 2, you have also very many of these items there. On page 35, for example, you have words associated with health. The same thing you have on page 50. It's not just treated in one unit. You have another one. Even some exercises based on words associated with health. That is 3. We have done with 1 and then 2. Because of our time, I'm not able to go through everything. Then you have also this one too. Words associated with sports, which is special in the syllabus. Up to page 87 to page 88, right? You look at another one here. This was actually with environment. 2, we have 1 before this one. Then you have so many other ones. And in book 3, this one is well loaded with all these things too. You have so many of them here in this book 3, which is a bumper one. You have every unit has this thing, and then you have at the end of this, you still have some other section devoted to this vocabulary development thing on at the very end. You look at pages 305 to 312. That's apart from the one that has been treated in the book itself. You have special lexical and vocabulary, the press, publishing, printing, libraries. You have photography, you have entertainment, you have health, you have affairs, you have transport, you have building, you have agriculture and animal husbandry, you have administration, you have computer and computing. These are in addition to what has been treated in the book itself, some of the words that are connected with the profession that has been treated in this book. So if you get hold of it, I'm so sure that you will enjoy even the treatment as it is there, and you'll be able to do even very well in what we're talking about. Now let's look at a pattern. Not past question. It is a pattern of how, like in the examination pattern on English language paper 1, objective test, and you have section 1. I've been telling you, in each of the following sentences, there is one underlined word and one gap. From the list of words, letter A to D, choose the one that is most nearly opposite in meaning to the underlined word, and I will at the same time correctly fill in the gap in the sentence. Remember, it must fill in the gap in the sentence. Now let's look at the first one. It's amazing that some people cannot differentiate genuine products, genuine, from the opposite. There will be fake. Genuine, fake. So number 2, patient thought she would be applauded for her speech, but on the contrary, she was applauded to hail. Not so, she was booed. That is the answer. Booed. She was booed. Remember, the present tense is boo. To boo somebody is to shout somebody down. Number 3, the piece of meat appeared tender, but was really dash. Look at that word tender there. Tender. 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 Tender there means soft, but was really tough. That is the answer. And say it is tough. Tender may have another opposite, another word opposite meaning apart from tough. That's what we're saying. Then we have the principal of the school was demoted for his incompetence, while the vice principal was commended for his incompetence. Means he is not performing well. And also, not punctuality. I will not be right. The opposite one. We have efficiency, incompetence, efficiency. That is the word that was opposite in that incompetence. While the manager was prudent in his expenditure, his deputy was prudent. What does it mean to be prudent? To be economical. And also, so his deputy was C, extravagant. Extravagant. Right. Then we have number 6. The cultured and the dash are known by their conduct. Cultured, somebody who is well brought up in the society. And then you have the cultured and the ignorant, no. Illiterate, no. Lazy, no. There's the barbaric. Barbaric, that is the one that's nearly opposite in meaning. Right, let's look at another one. Next one. Deep colors tend to be repulsive, or can be what? Can be attractive. Repulsive, something you don't like, or can be attractive. That is the one that is nearly opposite in meaning to repulsive. The man was accused of premeditated murder, but he pleaded that it was what? Premeditated means it had been pre-planned. It was accidental. That is the opposite there. Premeditated, accidental. Some outspoken social critics live a dashed family life. Outspoken, you are speaking, and then the answer will be the reserved family life. Reserved, doesn't speak much. Many people who are incarcerated during the upheaval have now been. What does it mean to be incarcerated? It means to be, for your movement to be restricted. Therefore, it will be the correct answer will now be freed. That is the one that is nearly opposite in meaning to that word incarcerated. Now, section 2 now. From the word lettered A to D, choose the word that best completes each of the following sentences. That's section 2. Remember we said section 2 is divided to appropriate words that are needed. The government has imposed and dash on the importation of textiles. And what? Can it be an order? No. Not an order will not be the right word there. An edict? No. Not an act. The right one will be an embargo. Please, an embargo on something that has been banned. But 12, his appointment was dashed because of irregularities in his credentials. Was he dismissed? It cannot be dismissed. But we have terminated. Terminated. His appointment was terminated because of irregularities in his credentials. Number 13, she won by dash because her opponent refused to play. cannot win by defeat, cannot by defense, not by defiance, it's by default. That is the correct one, by default. By default. 14, many players have complained about biased dash by referees. Now, every one of you should know that because you are interested in sporting activities, so you should be biased what? Officiating by referees. That's the appropriate word there. Number 15, the lawyer's client was dashed under oath in the law court. What is the right expression for that one? He was dashed under oath. He was cross-examined. Cross-examined with the right word there. You cannot have investigated or cross-fired or interrogated or something. No, it will be, it was in court. That's what you do, you cross-examine. Now the next one is number 16. The relationship between the couple is dashed for lack of communication. Is what? Tense? No, it's not. Tense will not be the appropriate word. The one that will complete it. Relaxed? No, cannot be, of course, relaxed when it is then the answer would be what? Strained. The relationship between a couple is strained for lack of communication. No, they were not communicating, therefore there was a strained relationship. Number 17, the government ordered the dash of all unauthorized structures around the highway. The word cannot be devastation, it will be demolition. Demolition of all unauthorized structures along the highway. Number 18, a good leader must beware of dash who would always praise him for any action, good or bad. Well, favorites, no. You must not beware of favorites. You must not beware of optimists. But the answer is actually sycophant. Don't forget that was not sycophant. So it's commonly mispronounced. It's not sycophant, it is sycophant. Sycophant. Please check in your dictionary again. Sycophant. It's commonly by very many people. Oh, yeah, many sycophants around him. It is not sycophant, it is sycophant. Right. Number 19. We just could not understand her because she spoke how? Faintly? No. If it's, that's not the reason, that's not the correct word. Directly? No. The word is actually incoherently. Incoherently. Not understand her because he spoke incoherently. Number 20. You never know what will happen tomorrow. You should prepare for any what? Disappointment? No. You don't prepare for disappointment. Disappointment for situation. The answer actually is eventuality. What may crop up? Eventuality. Must prepare for any eventuality. That's number 20. And then going to section 3. Section 3, remember we said, deals with interpretation of idioms and idiomatic expressions. After each of the following sentence, a list of possible interpretation is given. Choose the interpretation that you consider most appropriate for each sentence. Mr. Dada patted his daughter on the back because of her brilliant performance in the WASE. Patted, actually the thing is to pat somebody in the back, on the back rather, to pat somebody on the back. This means that Mr. Dada did what? Praised his daughter. That is C. To pat somebody on the back. Praised his daughter. 22. Trendy did not bat an eyelid when the news of her husband's death was broken. To bat an eyelid. That is the expression there. That means that Trendy did not, the answer actually is show any emotions, which is this one. She didn't bat an eyelid. She didn't show any emotions. 23. John's business is not thriving because he has too many irons in the fire. To have too many irons, that is the expression, that is the idiom. To have too many irons in the fire. That means John, what's the answer there? Cannot cook because he's not a blacksmith? No. Has too many unclear ideas in his head? No. He's trying to fabricate too many iron chairs? No. He's involved in too many projects. That is the meaning of that expression. To have many irons in the fire. He's involved in too many projects at the same time. Number 24. The crusade to eradicate corruption completely from the national life is like trying to square the circle. Trying to square the circle. So, and you remember I told you that sometimes you can get the meaning of an idiom from the idiom itself. You think very well. I remember I told you that square, when you have the square in that form, then you have a circle. How can you have a perfect square in the circle? So from that one, you actually guess the meaning. This means that the creator is trying to do what? Perform an impossible task, which is the meaning of that idiom. Trying to square the circle. That's number 24. 25 now. In the fourth round of the grueling fight, the challenger threw in the towel. To throw in the towel, that is idiom. He threw in the towel. What does that mean? This means that the challenger did what? Admitted defeat. That's the meaning of to throw in the towel. Now let's look at number 26. Taurus spends special time building castles in the air. Again, another idiom there, building castles in the air. What does it mean to build? From that idiom too, you can think of somebody building castles. You can mighty building mansion in the air. So you can get the meaning even from that. This means that Taurus is doing what? Thinking of impracticable things. Things of impracticable things. Number 27. The senator's house is the last word in comfort. The last word in comfort. Last word in comfort. That is the idiom there. This means that the senator had the most comfortable house. That is actually the answer, the meaning of the last word in comfort. Speaks about the comfort of his house? No. Owns the last house on comfort street? No. Has the house that is not comfortable? No. But the answer is had the most comfortable house. The last word in comfort. Number 28. The footballer's life was in danger, but now he has turned the corner. Again, to turn the corner is the medium. This is why the footballer is recovering. That is the meaning of that idiom, which is A. And recovering has turned the corner. Number 29. Mother's blood ran cold at the awful scene before her. When you say somebody's blood ran cold, what does it mean? This means that mother was terrified by what he saw. Her blood ran cold. Mother was terrified by what he saw. Now let's look at number 30. The new principal flung himself, heart and soul, into his work. What does it mean to fling one's heart and soul into one's work? Fling one's heart and soul into one's work. What does it mean? This means that the principal is what? Devoted to his work, inexperienced in his work, always angry with him, everyone, compassionate towards his work, is devoted to his work. Devoted. Then I have section 4, which is the nearest in meaning. From the word letter D to D, below each of the following sentences, choose the word or group of words that is nearest in meaning to the underlined word as it's used in the sentence. 31. The principal describes the teacher as a man of impeccable character. Impeccable character. What does it mean? Impeccable means faultless. Impeccable. Faultless. Faultless. 32. The robbers' jail terms are to run concurrently. 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 Concurrent means simultaneously. Simultaneously. Probably on count 1. On count 1, he's been given about 2 years imprisonment. Count 2, 4 years imprisonment. Count 3, 3 years imprisonment. So all those ones will go on concurrently. Right. 33. Sarah's statement was corroborated by her sister. Corroborated. Corroborated, that means confirmed. Corroborated. Confirmed. 34. Tolu is not only hardworking, but also scrupulous. When somebody is scrupulous, what does it mean? It means it's very, very meticulous. Scrupulous. Meticulous. 35. The decision I have taken is irrevocable. Again, that was not irrevocable. It is irrevocable. You can check in your dictionary, irrevocable. Now, the answer is irreversible. 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 Right. 36. The flood that swept the city was a catastrophic event. What does it mean? are what? Okay, a disastrous event, catastrophic, disastrous. Let's look at the next one, which is 37. The word that is nearest to meaning. My father loathes indolence. Loathe, what does it mean? What about loathe? Loathe means to dislike, to abhor. Abhors indolence. Still meaning dislike, of course. Most people allow themselves to be swayed by their emotions. Be swayed. Does that mean to be influenced? In this case, influenced. That's the meaning there. To be influenced by their emotions. 39. It was callous of you to have turned down the poor man's request. Callous. What does it mean? Callous. What does callous mean? Can mean wicked. Can mean also heartless. Because callous, heartless, or wicked. Number 40, he was so engrossed. That word is not engrossed, it's engrossed. We might say gross, but it's not gross, it is gross, right? Please take note. We're learning everything together, gross. So he was engrossed. All right. He was so engrossed in his book that he did not know when his father entered his room. Engrossed is to be absorbed in the thing. That is the nearest meaning in that context. Now we have section 5 now. This section deals with the grammatical items, structures, and so many other things. From the word or group of words related to A to D, choose the word or group of words that best completes each of the following sentences. I cannot dash decisive behavior. Now, what does that mean? I cannot do what? I cannot do what? I cannot do what? I cannot put up with. Put up with. That's an example of a phrasal verb. Phrasal verb, which has been treated in the book that we are referring to. The doctor advised him to dash smoking altogether. To do what? To cut off smoking altogether. Again, another example of a phrasal verb. I applied for the job, but my application, what did it do? Fell through. Did not succeed. That's the meaning of that phrasal verb. Now, number 44. None of the three girls has dash able to show me the way yesterday. None of the three girls. Will it be plural or singular? None means nothing. And therefore, and again, you have to read the sentence at the very end. Because you may think that it is. It's not is because of the yesterday. Therefore, the answer will be was. And we read none of the three girls was able to show me the way yesterday. So take note that you have to read the sentences unto the very end. Number 45. 45. There were 5 boys, of which 2 were beaten, whom 2 of them were beaten, 2 of whom were beaten, whom 2 were beaten. No, the answer will be 2 of whom. Remember, you don't use which for human beings. 2 of whom were beaten. 5 boys. And then you have number 46. A good knowledge of Igbo, Hausa, and Yoruba dash required. Don't forget that it is this one that will actually control the verb. Maybe of many languages that you can. Is a good knowledge. That therefore it will be a singular verb. A good knowledge of Igbo, Hausa, Yoruba, any other one, Germany or something, German, French, anything is required. A good knowledge is required. 47. The 2 of them were looking into dash eyes, whispering words of love. Into what? Each other's eyes, which is this one. Each other's eyes. Each other's. Number 48. Either the student or the teacher dash to blame. Now there is a rule in this number 48. When you use either or, there's a rule there. When you use either or, the verb has to be agree with the subject nearer it. The verb has to be to agree with the subject nearer. For example, you say either the teachers or the student. Now, the subject nearer the verb will be the student, and therefore if you carry is, even though you have teachers here. But that is the rule. Whenever you have either or neither nor, the verb must agree with the subject nearer it, and therefore it is in that form. So we have here either the students or the teacher is to blame. Is to blame. Right. Okay, now number 49. Number 49, we have I dashed the project before the school was shut down. And that's the verb structure now. I had begun. I had begun. Number option B will be the answer. I had begun. Number 50, the chairman as well as the deputy dash a party every week. Again, there's something that goes with that one. Wherever we have as well as, together with, like, as well as, together with, like, accompanied by,
10 minutes.
Accompanied by, the subject, the verb must agree with the first subject mentioned, unlike the last one that we discussed. Right? In other words, if you say the chairman, as well as the aides. Right? You remember that this is, I said, in this structure of as well as, the verb must agree with the first subject mentioned. This is the chairman that actually control the verb. Is visiting the something. The town or the city. Because you can as well remove this one, and you have the subject, the sentence as being very correct. The chairman is visiting this. So this is just an addition. So wherever you have as well as, together with, like, accompanied by, the verb must agree with the first. This is the verb now, agreeing with this first subject mentioned. That is the rule there. We can have some other ones. So forget. So for number 50, we have the chairman as well as the deputy organizes. That will be the answer. Organizes, the chairman organizes a party every week. Organizes a party every week. Then you have 51. The government is organizing a program for which one? Which one? Okay, the deaf and dumb. Deaf and dumb. Meaning all those people that are in that category, the deaf and dumb. Number 52. I admire Tolu for one thing. She loves dash questions in class. She loves D, being asked questions in class. Being asked questions. Some people confuse this being with being. Being, you can use has or have or had with it, but cannot use it with this one. And being means probably in a state. I can say being a student, I cannot afford to buy an iPhone. Being that state, being a student. We cannot use this one. So take note of the difference between being and being a state in a form. Right. So here now, for example, you have in number 52, I admire Tolu for one thing. She loves being asked questions in class, not being asked questions. Being asked, that thing, that state, that process. 53, the dash of all the West African countries are meeting tomorrow. Okay, the attorneys general, okay, this one. The same thing we have commanders in chief and so on and so forth. Then number 54, one of the window panes, what should it be, yesterday, was broken. One was broken. So only one was broken. Right. Number 55 rather. Your friend and mentor dash his speech. Now again, listen to this one. Because your friend and the mentor are one and the same person, therefore it will be singular verb. To be your friend and mentor has finished his speech. Don't forget, your friend and mentor, referring to the same person. Your friend and mentor. This mentor is referring to the friend, and therefore it will be singular verb. Your friend and mentor has finished his speech. Then number 56, which of the two questions is dash? Now because of the fact that it is two, cannot be any other thing except more difficult. More. If it's three, then most will come in, but it is two. Which of the two questions is more difficult? Now, number 57, I'm looking forward to dash from you. Usually the expression is, I'm looking forward to hearing from you. That is the expression. Looking forward to seeing you. Looking forward to hearing from you. Right. 58. Most governments sink large sums of money into developing countries. Developing countries. Right. 159 now. By the time I left the police station, one of the suspects, again, look at the being there. One of them was being questioned. Again, this being, not been, was being questioned. One of the suspects was being questioned in that process of. So take note. By the time I left the police station, one of the suspects was being questioned. We're going to stop here today, and we shall continue from there next time. Until I come your way again, I'm Ayo Akao. Goodbye. Don't forget that these lessons are being brought to you by the University Press PLC, publishers of international books, high quality books, including the one that you are familiar with, which is the New Oxford Second English course for senior secondary schools, books 1 to 3. Of course, you have the junior ones too. Bye for now.